Buddy Pine, Incredi-boy syndrome. Once a star-eyed worshipper of superheroes, especially Mr. Incredible, turned his worst enemy to date. Hello, my name is Jeremy Senpai, and we are going to be looking into probably the best Pixar villain and see if maybe he could have gone down a different path in life. Or was all of this meant to be? Okay, The Incredibles director Brad Bird intended for Buddy to be a dark parallel to Robin from the Batman comics. When we first meet Buddy, he appears in Mr. Incredible's car, already declaring himself as his sidekick, making the decision for his hero, calling himself Incredi-boy. Mr. Incredible, however, doesn't even remember him, calling him the kid from the fan club before he remembers his name after getting it wrong a couple times. Buddy, as Incredi-boy, is very insistent, but Mr. Incredible just ejects him from his seat in the car and then speeds off to deal with his next crime. The next time we see Buddy is when Mr. Incredible is stopping Bon Voyage. Buddy just appears dramatically, like he's out of a comic book, as if he's expecting a roaring crowd. While Mr. Incredible is treating this seriously, to his credit, Mr. Incredible doesn't even discourage Buddy here. But Buddy, on the other hand, he basically treats Bon Voyage like he's an actor, basically dismissing him and paying him little to no mind, while Mr. Incredible does see him as a genuine threat. And to his credit, Mr. Incredible doesn't discourage Buddy here. He didn't tell Buddy that you couldn't be a superhero without powers. In fact, both Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, they have vehicles that help them get around easier. For Mr. Incredible, it's his car. For Elastigirl, it's her bike. This is a crime scene, and he's confronting a dangerous enemy. It's not a no, it's more of a not now. But, desperate to prove himself to Mr. Incredible, Buddy is about to fly off to get the police, only for a bomb to be planted on his cape, forcing Mr. Incredible to let Bon Voyage get away, and unintentionally led to the events of the movie. If Buddy hadn't interfered, then the bomb wouldn't have gotten on the train tracks and maybe supers may not have been forced to hang up their capes. But for Buddy, the real crux here was being denied by Mr. Incredible. Mr. Incredible literally telling him, "You're not affiliated with me." But I'm here to tell you all that Buddy was essentially never cut out to be a hero in the first place. Buddy, he shows up to a crime scene, basically wearing a Halloween costume he made himself, where the only thing of use are the rocket boots he made. He doesn't have weapons or any fighting experience. Even if he, quote, doesn't need powers, he is definitely at risk here. He is a liability. He's telling Mr. Incredible that he can fly, something that even his hero can't do, at the same time respecting him, but also telling him he can do something that the great Mr. Incredible can't do. Imagine if a kid wearing a costume and is telling Superman or Batman that he can fight crime and save the day better than they can. Yeah, that's basically this route that I would go down. I'm sure both of them would take that very well. It's not until 15 years later when Buddy, now going by Syndrome, uses his former hero's pride against him to lure him into a trap where he's pitted against a huge robot to get his revenge and eventually send that robot to destroy a city in order to show everyone how much of a superhero he believes himself to be, only to be thwarted by his own creation and becomes useless in the battle. In fact, his name is a play on the term hero syndrome because Buddy is putting people in danger in order to save them and he can revel in the glory. Yes, Syndrome is basically a play on the term hero syndrome. Given his personality traits at a young age, Buddy, he shows all the signs of narcissistic personality disorder, or just NPD. NPD is categorized by the five main traits. Number one is a sense of self-importance, which he shows by putting himself and his goals before everyone else. Number two is the need for admiration. He showed this as a child and adult, where he still wants Mr. Incredible to respect him. Number three is exploitation. Syndrome has used Mr. Incredible's need to be a hero against him when he was recruited by Mirage. Number four is a lack of empathy. Syndrome was willing to endanger an entire city just so he could pretend to be a hero, not including when he fired missiles at Helen's plane, even after knowing there were children on board. And number five is envy. Syndrome displayed this at the end of the Omnidroid battle, believing that the Parr family and Frozone stole his glory. Syndrome has displayed all five of the main character traits for NPD, even when he was a young child, and as an adult, it only got more pronounced. If you look here, Buddy has made his own version of his interaction of Mr. Incredible. In the original, he's told that he works alone while he's apprehending Bon Voyage. But in Buddy's version, Mr. Incredible dismisses him and walks away, showing that Buddy can only see things his way and is unable to comprehend the point of view of other people. Mr. Incredible was in the middle of fighting a dangerous villain when Buddy intervened, and Buddy seemed to completely dismiss the villain as if he's an actor on a set, giving him the opportunity to get away. But in his mind, it's Mr. Incredible's fault. This even comes into play after the final battle against the Omnidroid. Syndrome decides to go on full villain, waiting for the family to get home so he can tell them his plan to kidnap Jack Jack. And even worse, he starts monologuing. Oh, don't worry, I'll be a good mentor, supporting, encouraging everything you weren't. He might make a good sidekick. Oh yeah, can you honestly tell me that does not sound like somebody who doesn't want to go full villain route? Even seeming to enjoy the idea, the fact that he's going to kidnap Jack Jack and raise him to suit his future revenge. But again, no, the Parr family and Frozone did what was necessary. They were stopping the giant robot that he designed to destroy the city, which he failed to do because of his showboating. If the military or another superhero defeated the robot, I have no doubt Syndrome would just shift the blame to them, since in their mind, they got in his way and got all the glory, instead of realizing he was in the wrong and taking his loss like a man. One small thing I noticed about Buddy is that both his Incredi-boy and his Syndrome costumes, they both have capes, while Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone's don't. This is because he believes that all heroes should have one. No, it's not just a clever foreshadowing by Edna Mode, the whole no capes thing, which I'm willing to bet you guys remember just as well as the whole where's my supersuit. Those are like the two most memorable lines in this whole movie. But back to the capes thing. This is no doubt due to because this was the media he grew up with, believing that superheroes are supposed to dress and act in a certain way, when that's not the reality. This has even carried over into Buddy's adulthood, as when he's fighting the Omnidroid, he's making jokes and putting on a big show for everyone, acting like what he believes a hero should be, instead of dealing with the real threat. This is in contrast to the Parr family and Frozone, who are taking the situation very seriously. Syndrome had a cheat remote up his sleeve that could have won him the battle easily, but again, because of his ego and his desire to show up Mr. Incredible, it only resulted in him being humiliated and knocked out before the fight even began. Building on what I said earlier regarding the Omnidroid battle, Syndrome makes a big grand appearance, stalling for all to revel over him. However, he throws the truck he stopped behind him without even looking or having any concern for the innocent civilians he might have put in danger. He takes the time to punch the robot's arm and then uses the remote to have the arm disconnect. Again, he does this to make himself look more impressive as a hero, even gloating for a moment, and once he loses his remote, he's quick to fly right into the crowd and then is knocked out. Syndrome had a cheat sheet literally up his sleeve, and he was so focused on his showboating that he didn't even think that his robot could overpower him. The very same robot that he designed to learn when it fights and calculate a strategy to win. Even when Syndrome has all the cards, he still can't win. But Buddy is by no means stupid. As an adult, he displayed that he is still a genius inventor and even a savvy businessman. However, he says outright that he invented weapons and probably sold them to whoever paid him the most. Yes, Syndrome became successful by being a weapons dealer. So Buddy doesn't care about bettering the world or society. All he cares about is getting respect as easily and quickly as possible. Or in this case, his respect was paid for. Buddy is willing to share his inventions with the world, but again, only when he's too old to play superhero anymore, and after years of building them and keeping them to build his fictional superhero exploits. And just like his beginning, Buddy doesn't care who buys his inventions or how they use them as long as they give him the respect he feels he deserves. In other words, if Buddy's inventions are made available to the public, what's stopping people from using the inventions for crimes instead of to play superhero like he does? But now, let's have a look at the real world implications regarding Buddy. He started off as a wide eyed kid, but because of one negative interaction, he allowed it to consume him, and he is still going off of his childhood obsession. This is a millionaire genius who is still dressing up and playing superhero. Even when he interacts with Mr. Incredible, he still lets his fanboy out, geeking out over all the little victories Mr. Incredible displays, as if he's a little kid watching a Saturday morning cartoon, showing that he has learned nothing and hasn't truly grown up. Syndrome even goes full on villain mode and starts monologuing, and even praises Mr. Incredible, believing that this was part of his plan. But no, Syndrome started monologuing because he is this egotistical and he needs to tell his enemies his plan and how he's going to win in the end and how there's nothing they can do to stop him, just like in the superhero media he grew up with. Also, what's truly interesting is that Syndrome is in many ways a dark parallel to Mr. Incredible himself. Mr. Incredible is a hero and does it for the right reasons, but 15 years later feels unfulfilled in his daily life, so he yearns to relive the golden years, to the point that he's excited about the idea of people being in a burning building so he can save them. But he gets his head on straight when he realizes that his illegal heroic acts are hurting his family, causing him to miss out on what's going on in his life now. While Syndrome, he wants to be a hero for the respect and admiration, to the point that he has killed off all other superheroes and created situations where he puts people in danger so he can save them. Syndrome has devoted his entire life to the simple cause of becoming a fake hero, but in the end, he has nothing to lose, nobody close to him that he cares about, and would be willing to realize he's in the wrong. Okay, let's play devil's advocate here. Okay, let's argue that Buddy was in the right and Mr. Incredible really was a big meanie to the little boy who admired him. Buddy still could have been a hero in a different way. Maybe he could have been an independent hero on his own, or maybe an even bigger inspiration. When people think of rich superheroes like Batman or Iron Man, that is them using their wealth to build technology to fight crime. But outside of the capes are Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne. They also give back. They use their fortunes to undo some of the damage done and bear the world. Buddy Buddy could have done the same. He created rocket boots when he was 10 years old, and would only continue to create more advanced technology well into his adulthood. Imagine if he applied that towards helping society. Buddy could have become a billionaire philanthropist, taking the world by storm, while Mr. Incredible would have lived his unfulfilling civilian life, where he would either realize he's in the wrong or most likely lead to a divorce, which ironically was only possible due to the events Syndrome set in motion. I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with Buddy being angry and trying to show up people who thought he didn't make it. Even though Mr. Incredible never did or said that, there's plenty of successful people who used the negativity of other people to fuel their ambitions and would go on to become some of the most successful and influential people in not only society but recent history. But no, Syndrome allowed his childhood obsession to consume him, only to die in a sad, unfulfilled way, befitting the man-child he grew up to be. This has been Jeremy Senpai. If you like what you've heard here, hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Until next time, everybody.